All right, folks, it's another Friday in the Life of the World, and in the Gregorian calendar, it's November 21st, right? Yes. November
20th.
20th. Okay, welcome. All right, I am Citizen Jones. Today on the program, we'll tell you PDP urges federal government to do more on security and economy, just as bandits kidnap 13 kill mobile policeman in Niger State. Again, PDP attacks Governor Umahi for joining the APC, even as the governor says Ebonyi now 99% APC. Now, hear this. NNPC announces discovery of crude oil in commercial quantity in the basin, Benue Basin, and later on we'll share this with you. The United Nations says Nigeria ranks highest in drug use prevalence globally. I'm hanging out with Dotun Oladipo. Dotun, I greet you.
Good evening, Citizen Jones.
They say Nigeria is #1 drug abuse. I'm sure it hits you.
Yeah, it says a lot about where we are today.
We'll get there. But let's also meet and greet Asukwa James. Asukwa, I greet you too.
Good evening, Citizen.
Okay. Let me report that Babajide is an MIA, means missing in action. He's on official duty. He should be here next week. All right, then. So the team is ready. I hope you are. Okay, then, let's get going. You know, the opposition People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has prevailed on the ruling APC, the All Progressive Congress, to do more by taking proactive steps in tackling economic and security challenges bedeviling the country. The PDP national chairman, Uche Secondus, gave the charge while speaking with newsmen in Abuja on Thursday. And we can tell you as well, armed bandits especially reportedly kidnapped 14 people following a coordinated attack on Mariga LGA of Niger State. A policeman was killed in the process. The menace of kidnapping, as novel as it might appear, can be, placed at the doorstep of the Fourth Republic politician who, it seems, has no compunction about our self-inflicted harm. Dr. How do we set out?
Well, there have been so many theories about how we got to where we are now. It's saddening, but the reality is it appears a lot of us are adjusting to this fear that anything can happen security-wise.
And it's the greatest enemy of man, Dotun. Fear is the greatest enemy of mankind. Really.
Because as it is now, a lot of people have prepared their minds that this Yuletide is going to be the worst, security-wise. And what is happening is not too far from it. Because initially, before we had the hijacking of the NSAS protest, we had security challenges. And here we are today, with so many guns in the hands of the wrong people. We are getting set for the worst. For me, I've always said, look, for you to be able to tackle a particular problem, you have to go back and check where we got it wrong.
Yeah.
We've always pointed to the issue of unemployment. It's a big one. And then you have the economic challenges, which you can't divert from the unemployment. Because if the economy is buoyant, if it's running well, you'll be able to employ. So many people are going into universities and coming out, not being employed. And there are those who don't even have the education. Who also want to live the good life.
Otherwise, we are saying many Nigerians are not employed or in employment, but also a great number of them are not employable.
Are not employable, yes. A great number are not employable. And yet they want to live the good life. A lot of these things have come to play, and we've seen it in the last 8 weeks, that there are a lot of people who claim that they want to work, but the work is not available. But then you come to ask yourself, what are they bringing to the table?
Oh, yeah.
So there is that set also there. So we have them in batches like that.
I've heard the crazy talk about, many of them are not employable. Are not employed. How much if it pay them? You've heard something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Asoko, but it is always said there's always room for improvement, but that room is always at the top. So the PDP is not wrong by appealing to that room at the top in looking at the situation, the security and economic situation.
Yeah, they are not entirely wrong, from asking the federal government to do what is constitutionally their duty, which is to protect lives and property. And don't forget that this government promised that they were going to tackle insecurity head on when they, if voted into power. This is since 2015. And this is 2020, and we are still talking about insecurity. Now, the situation is, just like Otto just said, we are all living in fear. You might be driving home every day, and the next thing you see or you hear is that somebody is knocking at your window, for settlement.
Talk about traffic robbers.
So the situation is very, very, very tense. Very, very tense. Even to travel from here to road trips right now is very risky. We were talking 2 or 3 days ago how bandits took over the Abuja-Kaduna highway until they had to send troops. As we speak, the only set of the security agency that is in virtually all the states is the soldiers, the Nigerian army. They are practically in almost 33 states in the Federation doing what the police is originally supposed to be doing. And
understandably so, because we are at this hangout, we have talked about the police having been neglected for many years.
Yes. So, and with the offshoot of the NSAS, I think by now the presidency is supposed to sit down and see how they can reform the police, to make them, to train them, retrain those who are supposed to be trained. Because, I was coming this afternoon, and the orders which the IG said no private individual should have police officers. I still saw them doing
they named them now.
Those ones that they named, because their names, the ones I saw today, because their names were not there, so they were opportune to have police. Is that what you're saying?
No. I should be asked. My business is to ask. So if you are one of those who are supposed to be, if you were not named and you still keep your policemen?
But it's wrong, because this is what we are talking about. We need, if the IG is saying no more private security, police officers should not be, guiding private citizens, in quotes. Let him list those who are entitled to it. Because we saw some pastors, some imams, some celebrities and all that. But we will need them, sure because as we speak, citizens, as we speak, there are some communities, some people who can't go back to their communities.
Yeah. Because
it is either they've been ransacked, they've been taken away completely. Some people don't even have a community anymore, because some people have, in quote, have taken over their community because they have turned themselves to the landlord of another person's land.
Boy, come on. Doctor, I'm sure when he was mentioning pastors, maybe now those pastors no they sure of security from. But that's, by the way, let's look at it. The second leg of the story is that bandits stormed a local government in Niger State, killing a policeman, a mobile policeman, and abducting 14 people. So banditry is still alive and well here. I may be wrong, but I think the Fourth Republic must go back to the drawing board and look at banditry.
Well, like I said, we need to go back and check. Where did we get it wrong? When the stories were told earlier on, as we settled into the Republic, we had the stories of politicians having used some of these people, armed them sufficiently, and abandoned them with the arms and ammunition.
So in off-season, this is what you get.
What do you do? They have to survive somehow. Because when policemen come and they give reports, and you hear even the bandits are better armed than we are, you begin to think. Even the soldiers too say so. Even they say so. And in reality, if you do, like we said on this program before, if you put together all the officers and men we have in all the services in this country, I'm not sure they will be able to tackle the crime rates effectively.
Yeah, Doctor, there's a flip side to it. Do you know if the police is allowed, underline that, is allowed to do its job, many people would be in jail as we sit here, right? Wrong?
You are right. But we won't have the capacity and capability in the police to do it. It's a big question. Even the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, we have always been talking of shortfall in personnel. How do you say in a country like this, the number of policemen we have and the number guiding the VIPs? How do you it's not justifiable.
Maybe that's why you have refused to be a VIP. I don't know, I may be wrong. But it's not a crime to be guarded by the police if the law allows it.
And that is if the law allows it. But as we stand today, we don't have enough, police officers that can, secure us to be able to sleep with our two eyes closed. Because if you look at across the Federation, from the north down to the south, you have one pocket of insecurity or the other. Yeah. And I know, I think 2 days ago or on Sunday, I was saying that I think it is high time the federal government organized a national security summit, whether they want to do it in the 6th geopolitical zone, so that people will come and first talk about the challenges they are facing and profile solutions, and then put a timeline on how they can tackle this insecurity. Yeah. Now, the major thing might be poverty. So how will government address poverty? Because majority of those who are into crime and criminality are those from age 15 to 60, to 40 or to 64.
All right, Asuko, sorry we have company here. Olowo Layemo is reaching us from Lagos. I greet you, sir. Olowo Layemo.
Good evening.
I greet you. How do you do?
Yes, I'm doing fine.
Let's go.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
We met in Voice of Nigeria when we were there.
Okay, let's go. Time.
Yes. You see this abduction and all the rest. From my own view, I feel it will not stop. You know why? Why I said so? We're praying that it should stop. The reason is that when you gather or when you arrest all these people, you give them amnesty and you give them money. They go back. The people that Master Ali had an amnesty meeting with the other day, I gave them so much money. Where are they? They have gone back. And he's still lamenting now. You see, until we stop all these things you people are talking about is the right thing. When big men are still carrying the police all about.
I hope you can. I hope you can report any of them. I hear we must take this quickly home. Okay. I said at the beginning of this subject matter, politicians of the Fourth Republic must go back, recall into themselves, look at the man in the mirror, and ask himself, have I been fair to this country? These bandits are man-made. Oga, they are politician-made. We'll take it home now.
Yes, that's the truth, like we have said. Whether it's in the north, it's in the south, whichever way.
East or west.
It's just the same. But unfortunately, one thing we're always forgetting is that it is good for you not to taste something that is juicy. Just like it happened with Adam and Eve. Because once you step into that zone, yes, we read the biblical account.
Okay.
Because once you step into it, stepping out, getting out is going to be a problem. Look at the story yesterday. Soldiers caught people taking 2 million naira in cash to Boko Haram for exchange for those that they kidnapped. If somebody gets 20 million, 50 million without so much sweat, and then you expect that having tested that kind of life is going to live, it's going to take much more.
If now you go live.
It's going to take much more.
Okay. Otherwise, what we're saying is, oh, come on. This is man-made. We know the answer from the question. As at this hangout is to provoke the debate, give you the facts, and allow you to make up your mind. Now to our next story. You know, politics, it is said, is not an exact science. This saying can loosely be interpreted to mean that in the game of politics, you can demonstrate that you are wrong. Governor David Umahi had, in the weeks leading up to his jumping ship, hinted at the move. The Ebonyi chief executive took the dive on Tuesday, November 17th. His former party couldn't be amused and has therefore issued a stinging statement. The chief publicist of the party, Kola Ologbodiyan, did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. Warns that Nigerians would soon realize why Governor Umahi carpet crossed and the PDP would move on without him. I hear in politics, you may count your chicken before they are laid. You believe this? In politics, you count your chicken before they are laid because it's not an exact science.
Of course, politics is not science because even everybody plays politics. Even in your house, you can play politics.
Oh, you do too.
Of course, there's politics in the house. It starts from the house first before you go out. So what has happened in Ebonyi and as well as PDP is not new. It has been happening to everybody and everywhere, you know. But where it will lead is what we don't know. Why David Umahi, which I believe is the most performing governor in the Southeast, you know, I can give it to him. Where and what his intentions are, because everybody has ambition. His own ambition, we don't know yet. Because he said that the PDP has not given the Southeast that green light. I want to use green light. Because we don't know, they've not done their convention for them to decide.
I think it is safe to use his words. PDP has not been fair to the region.
Yes, you know.
Just follow that trail.
Okay, let me say, okay, PDP has not been fair to that region, okay, to the Southeast. Because we in South, we've tasted our own already. So to the Southeast, they've not been fair. And to him, they've not given that green light that, okay, that ticket is actually going to the Southeast. And if the governors and people in PDP can also sit down, I'm not sure they really sat down to talk to him to see that, okay, fine, this and this is
okay,
what you are going to do.
Gentlemen, David Umahi, up till Tuesday morning, was governor of Ebonyi under the PDP. It will be interesting to get to hear the words from him, don't you think? So we'll listen to our man. You can see the picture on your screen. Governor Umahi is making the important speech.
There was a time there was famine in the land where Isaac dwelt, and he wanted to move. God said, no, don't move. And when it was the fullness of time, God said to Isaac, you have dwelt in this land for a very long time. It's time to move. This Isaac is Southeast people. We have dwelt so much in one political party, and it's time to move to the center. Don't be so! APC!
Doctor, now the umbrella is replaced with the broom, Ebonyi State. So that is politics in action. Doctor, so you don't have trouble here. You know, Ndigbo appears politically not to admire
APC.
What the Hausa Fulani has done to him But they predominate PDP, and Governor Umahi is telling you, yes, waiting, we don't talk in soft tones. We are in the open. Out of 5 states, PDP is holding on to 2. That is Enugu and Abia.
Well, what has happened in Ebonyi didn't come to some of us as a shock. It's always been there. It was just a matter of when will it happen. Now it has happened. And for the governor also to say to us that he doesn't have an ambition, I'm sure he also knows that it's not being truthful in whole.
No, but he does not have an ambition. He never told you that.
Yes, he never did so. But we all know how these things play out in politics. After so many years of waiting to see where things will go, what has happened with the Southeast is, look, it is now very clear to us that if both the PDP and the APC will field the Northerner as president again in 2023, what we should do is to position ourselves properly
for number 2.
For number 2. And that is clearly what this game is all about.
Yeah, Dotun, but in politics, 2 + 2 is 22 and not 4.
Well, in Nigeria, we've always worked it out. And it has always come back to the same position. You can't run away from it. Once you sit down and you do your permutation, you know where these things will go. You can know from now who are those likely to get the tickets in both parties. That is where my worry is, really, in this discussion.
Okay.
Because for all of the NSAS protests that we have had, and all the call for constitutional reforms, this reform, that reform, we are looking only in the direction of 2 parties.
No, Dotun, you don't need a graduate of political science to tell you we are a 2-party country.
Yes, we are.
You better believe it.
We are, but really, if we are serious as a nation and trying to follow the trend of the discussion, if we need to change anything, then we must now begin to look at options that we have. Because these are parties that are already molded, shaped, formed, that will not likely change so much. We already know that anywhere we are going, sir.
In your estimation?
Not just in my estimation, it is just the truth. Anywhere we are going now, sir, if the new generation, as they have called themselves, want to achieve anything, then it can't be with any of these 2 parties, because we all know it. There is nobody who is going to run for the presidency or become the vice president in any of these 2 parties that can be less than 60 years.
Well, please, not that our colleague Dotun is an overnight prophet, you know, now in minding just the poor. So, but let's break it down. Maybe Dotun does not understand this geography. Dotun, if you cross Asaba into Onitsha via the Niger Bridge, as it is now, you are greeted at the Onitsha end by a giant-sized statue of late Dim Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu.
Yes.
And on his head, so-called now you, is the party ABGA. And then there's this line under it, Nka Bunkai. Your wife na Igbo woman, so you understand. Nka Bunkai, this one now our own. So ordinarily, you expect that from Onitsha, Anambra to Ebonyi, ABGA should be reigning. Right, wrong?
No, you are absolutely correct.
So let's go that way.
So you're absolutely correct. But it's not like that in politics.
Okay.
Because everybody has interest. And that is where most times I fault the people from that region. You have a leader.
Including your people, though.
Because I am their in-law. So, because if you have a party, just like what happened in the Southwest, they had ACN, they had...
No, they are ACN, and now APC.
ABGA is supposed to have formed itself into a formidable party, whereby one governor will not be saying is leaving that particular party for
you are told that your in-laws are Republicans.
Yeah, by history.
Okay.
By history, they are. But they can also form that Republican idea by having a political party that will push that ideology. But they have not. But rather what they have always do, what they usually do, what they do.
Doctor, tell him not to involve his wife, because but no, Doctor, in taking this home, in taking this home, therefore, we are saying in politics, it's about building bridges and consensus. Isn't it time to go with the flow, change, and so on?
We have been calling for change. And if all we do when we call for change is to go with the flow, with the pattern, we can't move out of that cage. I've heard a lot of people talk about constitutional reforms and all the rest. With the same set of politicians, I can bet you can't achieve it.
Exactly.
Okay, let me sound a little cynical. Nobody will go to court. I hear if tomorrow, Asukwa and Dikpo, or Dotun rather, if you say, West, they no one presidency. North, no one presidency. Middle Belt, no one presidency. Southeast, bring presidential candidates. I hear we go wait for 1 year.
There'll be trouble.
No, okay. Let's go on this break. We'll be back.
There'll be trouble.
All right. You would have heard the payoff in that commercial. Kids are not too young to be landlords. I'm looking at the guy. Calm down. Calm down. Okay, let's go to our next story. As an oil-based economy with strong government control, the discovery of the black gold lends itself to the whims of government. The major player in the oil sector, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has announced the discovery of crude oil in the Benue Trough in the northeastern part of the country. Group GM of the corporation, publicity Samson Makoji, is it Makoji now, disclosed that the discovery of the hydrocarbon deposits in the Kolomani River well on the upper Benue Trough would undoubtedly attract foreign investors to the country. I thought the world was looking to investing in more alternative sources of energy. Dr. One hopes it's not a case of too little, too late.
Well, it's really not. What we have done to ourselves is to cage our economy. We've always been talking of examples of countries that have exploded technologically and who are far better off than we are. We've always mentioned California in the US, which is just a state that the budget far
outstrips our own.
The whole country.
Yeah.
We've always said, look at what they are doing in Asia. Some people will come and say, stop this ringtone from a phone. I'm saying, which one have we produced in the country? But discovering oil is good. And the reason for me is this. We've spent so much money in the Benue Trough than for us not to come up with something.
After we left the northeast?
Yes.
Okay.
Where we even lost a lot of people to Boko Haram attack.
Yeah.
So if we've discovered this, the big question now is, are we going to treat it like we have been treating what we've been getting from the south and the southeast? Because it's not as if we don't make money. But what do we spend this money on? That's the issue. How many people gather to spend this money from a whole 200 million population? How many benefit from it in the real sense of it? Are we going to go that same route with the discovery in Benue? Are we also going to pipe the crude or whatever we do to as far as to refine? Those are issues we should be considering now. Because just being happy that we've discovered oil, it doesn't add up. The ones that we have now, what have we done with it?
Asoko, I'm going to tease you a little. Please, you won't go to court about this. There are too many here. They say one get head, you know, get cap. The other no get head, but he get cap. Who is the more lucky of the two?
And the one we get head, we get cap now.
No, I say one get head,
no,
you won't get cap.
So me, I want to put it well.
I don't say I'm okay. Yeah, go. Let's hear you.
But unfortunately, Nigeria seems to be the one that has the cap without the head. Because every time, if you look at the world, is moving away from crude oil. I think with this COVID, by now, the government is supposed to know that we can't depend entirely on crude oil. Because that pandemic, the COVID pandemic really showed that we were like chicken, headless chicken, just running and trying to look for money. Oh, the world is moving, citizen. Now, the UK, for instance, in 2023, they'll be doing away with petrol cars. So anything called petrol cars, I'm very sure they will now send it back to Africa.
Latest 2030. Completely phased out.
By 2030,
but as we speak now,
completely phased out.
The double deckers, they are all electric.
Let me whisper this. I hope nobody they hear. I hear Lagos State.
No, yes, now, yes, but that one.
No, which one be that one?
No, that one is.
What is that one?
The electric cars that they want to. They've even started producing.
Also, tell them.
So
please.
they've started producing. So by the time the world is going electric, they are going green. We are still talking about producing billions of crude oil. Who is going to buy from us? Because in the next couple of years, nobody will be buying crude oil again. Somebody was telling me that there will be a time that we will be the ones drinking our crude oil. Because by the time you sell it to the market, it will be cheap, you'll be selling it for cheap price. We should be thinking about other things. Technology. India. You can't fault India when once it comes to technology.
Yeah.
So if you look at NMPC,
I know you're trying to be political.
No, of course, because I'm trying to be political and as well as very, very
politically correct. But when when I said two men, one get head, get cap. The other one no get head, but he get cap. He mess up. You go do well.
Well, in all honesty, I thought we were going somewhere when Dr. Kayode Fayemi, who is now the state governor, was Minister for Solid Minerals and all the rest. We had a roadmap.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Exactly.
It looked like we knew we wanted to do something. But that steam, I can't see it again. It's gone. How do we, in a country with a lot of genius, where people are looking for the kind of people we have in technology-wise, not able to tap into this? We still completely depend on Facebook. We completely depend on Twitter. All these things from outside. We have guys who can develop these things here in this country and will become a model. But we are not paying attention to these small things, or these things that we regard as small, that can become billions in our hands. Yeah. So let us, even the oil, like we have said, can we refine it in this country? Make it into other things. For instance, a lot of our industries are suffering now because we are not producing. Okay. They need black oil, which they regard as just a byproduct from producing. Industries are gone.
But Doctor, let's stretch that logic a little. You have byproducts of crude oil, the crude itself. You talk about plastic, blah, 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 and so on. So you still so many of them. So oil will still be relevant in the foreseeable future.
If we're able to apply it the way we should.
Okay.
But where we take our crude and we take it out to other countries to refine for us, and they give us what we need. And they use the others to develop their own industries.
Because the byproducts are in those countries.
Now you are going back to the man with Without head, we get cut.
So we need to be able to get these things in correct measure.
Yeah.
People have been talking about the Constitution having hindered states from exploring minerals within their domain. We bring in so many things into this country.
Let me stop, Dr. Briefly. We have Lorraine in Port Harcourt. That's the first female voice I'll be hearing in a long time. Okay, I hear Naman. Oh, I'm sorry. Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon.
All right, sir. Welcome.
I'm Lorraine calling from Port Harcourt. I'm male.
Okay, you are on. Let's go.
With Asuko, good evening, and Ebonyi.
Yeah, good evening.
I want to talk about insecurity. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Nigerian situation as regards security is like a student who is writing an open exam. An open exam is an exam whereby the lecturer will give you the question and allow you to use your textbook to search for the answer. So Nigeria is like a student who's writing an open exam and yet complaining that the questions are difficult when all he or she needs to do is to look into the textbook, pick out the answer.
Yeah.
Our insecurity is a great opportunity to create jobs in Nigeria. All the government needs to do right now is to establish professional security companies
Lauren,
and change the laws and allow them to be armed.
Yeah, Lauren, sorry, I'm interjecting now. You think you have nothing to say about the discovery of crude oil in commercial quantity in the
about the
Benetton?
insecurity issue this guy raised in the country. Are you with me?
I want to be with you.
Yes, I'm saying that what we need to do concerning insecurity and the big the society taking our police forces is for big companies to establish private security firms and arm them, and jobs will be created and the problem will be solved.
Okay. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you very kindly. Asukwal, we can quickly go back there before we wrap this up. Oil being discovered in commercial quantity in the Benue Trough, for me, looks good. But, you know, there's a difference between something that sounds good and a good-sounding news. There's a difference between a news that sounds good and a good-sounding news. Can you differentiate?
Well, it might sound good to the ears, but it might not sound good to the heart.
Not be a good sounding.
No, yeah, you understand. So I want to let me use the example of Oloibiri. Since we discovered oil in 1956, let's go back to that town. There is nothing that you can call development even in that town. I don't want to talk about the larger society, which is, okay, we are actually getting crude oil from here, using it to do one thing or the other. That one. I'm even talking about where you get it from. So even if we get it there, what is the guarantee that that particular region first or that particular place will benefit from it? That is one. Then two, when we finish and because we don't even have refineries that will refine this crude oil, because it's from refining crude oil in your country that you'll be able to get other sources,
let's get
other products.
Well, let's get to the bridge. We'll learn how to cross it.
No, because
the bridge is
we've been
drilling.
Drilling since 1956. And what have we been using the money to do?
All right, Dr. The latest news from the National Assembly is that the PIB should become law in 6 months. As we sit here, we're still flaring gas.
For me, sir, if you ask me, people are always emphasizing on the point of law. And I'm always saying, look, laws are not our problems. Laws are not our problems.
After all, man was not made for laws. Laws were made for man.
Yeah.
When we look at other spheres, we will see that it is how honest we are in handling situations. All these things that we write down. How many court cases do we have as a country outside of our shores on business handling. It shows that it is not just about the law.
Yeah.
It is about those who are handling it and the sincerity, the consideration for the common interests. What is good for the community? What is good for Nigerians? Otherwise, if we are considering what is good for Nigerians, somebody will not sit somewhere like we have been hearing and be collecting 29 million naira in a month and say he's making loss for us.
Okay. Listen, in taking this home, therefore, I just mentioned PIB in passing. It's a bill that's been at the National Assembly for moons and moons.
For many years.
What is the problem with passing it into law? In whose interest is the bill still dangling like a pendulum back and forth?
Well, what we have heard is there have been disagreements over the fine details of what is contained in that law. The IOCs have their own issues, the country has its own, and ultimately, where we're always waiting for, which is the final point for us, is the Ministry of Justice.
Okay.
Once it's okays it and it goes to the president for signature, fine.
Okay, we must end it there, but don't forget the two men I talked about. One man, he get head, he no get cap. The other man, no get head, but he get cap. All right, our last story for the evening. A lot has been written and said about drug abuse and use in our country. Our country started from steady steps to being an unpretentious user of narcotics to the current status of the world's drug prevalence champion. There's no prize for this. Now, this is not a pun, no joke. The United Nations revealed that Nigeria, my Nigeria, your country, my country, had been ranked highest in drug use prevalence rate on the planet. What does it tell you? A Nigerian who doubles as the National Programs Officer, United Nations Committee on Drugs and Crime, Folusho Ajayi Adelekun, made the grim revelation during a one-day sensitization workshop on drug abuse and rape. The House of Reps Joint Committees on Narcotics and Drugs facilitated the parley. As of all, we are in a peculiar mess. Apologies to late Adegoke Adelabu.
Exactly, because citizen, most of the crimes that we are experiencing today this is the offshoot. You know, it's drug related. If you go deep down, because
drug abuse related.
Yes, drug abuse related. Thank you for that correction. Because, and it is amongst the youth. Most of them.
But you be youth now.
Yes, I see.
You know the youth
Yes,
drug.
correct.
No.
No, you are old school. Yeah, go on.
The thing is, from statistics, you know, how Nigeria has 14%, 14.3, while the entire community, globe has only 5.3.
Oh, come on.
And from that party, from that workshop, the major problem that we are having is because we do not have enough funds for us to do sensitization. Because if there is no sensitization on the misuse of drugs and why you should not use drugs, you should not abuse drugs,
Yeah.
people will just go to anywhere, buy these things, and they use. There are so many kinds of drugs that the youth are seriously using these days. It's either it is marijuana or ethanol.
I talked about you being old school. They don't go past marijuana.
Or scoochies, or, there are so many. And don't forget, citizen, even some of the music that is being played on the airwaves and the ones that have been censored, because there's one that they will play, and there are some that they will censor. The one that is not censored.
You know, science teacher.
Yes, that's the science teacher. If you listen to it, it is promoting drug abuse.
Doctor, but we are also talking about substance abuse. They go hand in hand here. Because if you're told some of these, if you're told about some of these substances, you marvel, you almost choke.
Yes, there are so many that we don't need to keep mentioning them. But the question also still remains. How did we come from that generation that had its head in place to where we are now.
They say Igbo they move again.
That's the thing. They've discovered so many that even you will be shocked.
Yes.
Gum, there is a way they do it. Feces, there is a way they do it.
Yeah, they say you
so
go
many of them.
open gutter and sniff.
And sniff with something.
Yes, soak away.
You know, put in. According to the NDLEA, just after the workshop, they made the largest single discovery in a warehouse in Lagos of drug. Where they are manufacturing it.
Hard
in Lagos.
drugs.
Yes, in Lagos.
And substances.
Yes.
Wow.
They've done so in so many other places too. So, big question is, how do you go and stop people who are already making millions through these illegal means? Because the bottom line for some is profits. It is, look, how much is in this? They don't even care how many lives will be destroyed.
I must mention this here. One of our colleagues, let's keep his name away from here, because if I mention the name, you know it. One of our colleagues said in government circles, they vote a chunk, a sukwo, of money for these hard drugs for the boys to do the job.
Of course, how do you give somebody AK-47 and all the rest without providing...
With clear eyes. With clear eyes.
We say you know if you drink water and carry...
No, you can't now. You can't use it.
Anybody who has had this unfortunate meeting with any of these people, we always perceive drugs. You can smell it. You can see it. You can feel it. So it has gone even beyond this idea of they are using it to get high and all that. Some people are making billions from it. So when we are looking at the boys who have 2 kilograms of weed, who have this, where are the men who are producing these things?
The suppliers.
Wait, by the way, Asoko, are we talking about the youths who are leaders of tomorrow?
This is the same youth that we are talking about.
Go there, yeah,
because
quickly.
If we now have youths who have used the greater part of their lives they've used the greater part of their lives.
Asoko, I hear you go to parties and you see boys clutching bottles like this.
And you think it's water.
Okay.
It's not water.
It's not water. They
would have mixed it with some other things. So if they say, you want to drink water, you collect. You're on your own.
Even in higher institutions, you must ask questions before you eat or rice with anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, if you are not careful, you sleep until the following day.
Exactly.
I was told on one program, even a food as innocent as Indomie.
Beans, rice.
No, they will just put...
Even eba.
What they will do is to spike it with vegetable.
Yes.
That is the only thing they
and your people like vegetables.
Yes. So the thing is, it is a very dangerous trend, because we that will say we are the leaders of tomorrow, we are not, our lives are seriously in danger. Because,
but you know,
because if some people...
tomorrow you can be governor,
and
you get boys working for you, and you must pep them up.
No. The new generation and the new thinking that we have is not for us to encourage violence.
Let's invite Mohammed. Is reaching us from Warri. I hear Warri know they take last. Mohammed, welcome.
Citizen Jones.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
I greet you, sir.
Thank you very much. In fact, I always enjoy the way you do your parable. They are very strong.
Forget the parable. Let's go.
I try to write them down. I try to write them down, but I think my brain cannot.
Oh, come on.
Actually, Citizen Jones, on this issue of drugs, I'm from the north, precisely. This issue of drugs, all the crime you see in Nigeria, particularly the north, as I know, they are drug-related, sincerely speaking.
Oh, yeah.
If you are not taking drugs, but sometimes we should go back home and look at our cousins. We look at the way they behave. Those people who have escaped from kidnappers then will tell you that these kidnappers are really drug addicts. Even the bandits you are talking about, the ones that went and killed people in Katsina, I remember one of them that was caught. He even said he used Hausa to say, Nimutu Buni Kawe Nakashi. That is, I only killed 2 persons. If not that, you are under the influence of drugs. How can you say you killed 2 persons? You say only. 2 persons.
Mohammed, no make us big drug. Don't get us drugged, but thank you for your time. Gentlemen, we must go. 30 seconds.
Yes.
Taking it from the top.
We've
discovered oil in Benue. We talk about Umahi moving from left to right and so on. Is it right to left? I don't know.
Anywhere I thought this
okay.
has moved. Okay. For me, in all of this, is we need to start having a new thinking for a new country. If all we do is jump from one party to the other, rejoice over discovery of oil that we don't know what we are going to do with it, and then keep feeding Boko Haram and all the other bandits and robbers and kidnappers with drugs.
It's all a matter of choice.
Then we are gone.
Asuko, I know you agree no less with what he has said.
Exactly.
You know, as they say, some people feel the rain, Dotu and Asuko. Some people get wet. All right, we must go, and we want to thank you very kindly. That's our show for today and the week at the Hangout. Our business, as always, is to provoke the debate by throwing up all the facts and allow you to make up your mind. So on behalf of the backroom boys here, Dotun Oladipo and Asuko James, I, Citizen Jones, want to thank you for your time. But if you missed this broadcast, join us at 11 in the join us at 11 on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channels remain the same. Citizen Jones here. Bye-bye now. Take care.